and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Friday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Stainert and Rico with you guys. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's the day?
Fantastic.
It's a Friday.
It's Good Sense Friday, baby.
Good Sense Friday. Shout out to the Pillow Restaurant Group for their support as always. Visit any of their locations in Lincoln today. The venue, Piedmont Bistro, Good Sense.
The best.
All of them. Shout out to the Pillow Restaurant Group for their support and the Good Sense sandwiches every single Friday.
You are appreciated.
Yeah. Anyway, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 961. You can always follow me or Rico on Twitter as well, Nick_Sainert or at Radio Rico AC. We have plenty of stuff to get to today, as obviously Nebraska basketball. How about the Huskers?
Another one.
80-72 over the Wisconsin Badgers. Nebraska gets a much-needed win at home to break a little bit of a losing or a little bit of a slump that they've been in. Not necessarily at home, I understand that, but just a general slump. Keisei Tominaga struggles in the win. Jamarcus Lawrence didn't play a whole lot in the win as well. But, I mean, what can you say about C.J. Wilcher?
The man that people were casting off.
C.J. Wilcher drops 22 points on 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 7 from the three-point line, and 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Earlier today, and once again, 464-5685. Earlier today, I was going through CJ Wilcher's individual stats because he's been on a tear. Not only the last 5 games, but something that I found out through my findings is in conference play that CJ Wilcher has been on a tear. And so I'll start with this. And I tweeted it out once again, Nick_Sainer. It's where you can find it. I know Rico retweeted it too at Radio Rico AC. CJ Wilcher in the last 5 games. So in the last 5 games, Nebraska's gone 3-2 in those games. And I understand that they've not directly, correlated to victories, but CJ Wilcher in the last 5 games,
Impressive nonetheless.
25 of 37 from the field, which is good for 68% from the field. He is 19 of 29 from beyond the 3-point line, which is 66% from beyond the 3-point line.
29 of his 37 shots coming from deep.
He has gone 7 of 7 from the free throw line, obviously 100%
buckets.
And he's averaging in the last 5 games 14.8 points per game off the bench. Now, I decided to go a little farther. All right, maybe he's just on a heater. This isn't correlating for the entire season. In Big Ten play, CJ Wilcher is shooting 57% from the field, specifically in Big Ten play alone, 38 of 67 on the floor.
That's a bucket.
He is shooting 47% from beyond the 3-point line, 24 of 51. And then how about this? We talk about free throws and how absolutely crucial free throws are in Nebraska basketball games. CJ Wilcher in conference play this season is a perfect 20 for 20 from the free throw line, which is good for 100% from the charity stripe.
Chef's kiss.
And in conference play this year, CJ is averaging close to 12 points per contest.
You know what club that puts him in conference play?
What's that?
The 50-40-90 club.
There you go.
Except it's 50-40-100.
Yep. 50-40-100. That's CJ Wilcher. I mean,
it's one of one.
You cannot say enough about CJ Wilcher. I'll say it again. In the last 5 games, 68% from the field, 66% from beyond the 3-point line, 100% from the free throw line, averaging close to 15 per game. In conference play in general, 57, which is through 11 games, 57% from the field, 47% from beyond the 3-point line, 20 for 20 from the free throw line, and averaging close to 12 points per game as well. If that's
CJ Wilcher's found his stride.
If that is not your 6th man of the year in the conference, I'm not sure what is.
They mentioned it it was either on the television broadcast or on the postgame show on Big Ten Network yesterday. They're saying he's making a strong push, if he hasn't already locked up, Big Ten 6th man of the year because of his performance in conference play and just this season overall. This CJ Wilcher is the kind of CJ Wilcher that we have been looking for an entire season. This is the CJ that we got at Rutgers last year, the CJ that we got in spurts the year before that. He's finally found the confidence, the rhythm, everything that he's needed to be that 3-point shooter that Fred Hoiberg has told us about and be that player that Fred has told us about. It seems like he's found all of that, put it all together, and again, so far in Big Ten play is on another level.
So, and we got this text off the text line, 402-464-5685. Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line, open for you guys the entire show today. Someone says, unnamed texter says, I feel like Hoiberg deserves more credit. He always seems critical. It seems to be critical in big wins. And you're certainly correct on that. I think what Sam Hoiberg does
is that Sam or is that Fred? Is that what we're like? Are we saying that?
Well, no, it's Sam Wood.
Sam?
Yeah. And he adds in,
okay.
or they add in,
there
Hoiberg needs some love. We don't win without his efforts that don't always show up in a box score due to his defensive menace. And that's exactly what you took the words right out of my mouth, unnamed texter, because where I was going to go with this is that Sam Hoiberg's going to do things that don't show up in percentages from the field and from the free throw line and beyond the 3-point line. It's I went back and I watched the extended highlights that, they post on YouTube the day after each game. And still, it did not look nearly as impressive on TV as it truly was in person. But the play on the boundary where Josiah Alec lays out, Sam Hoiberg then gets the basketball, goes coast to coast, and ends up does a spin move on Blackwell, who's a freshman guard for Wisconsin, and lays it in, I think, to pull Nebraska within 1 at this point. I could be wrong on that margin. That was one of the more athletic plays I think I've ever seen, not only from Josiah Alec, but also from Sam Hoiberg. So what I would then turn and say is that this is such a refreshing conversation to be having on February 2nd of a season, because we have CJ Wilcher, who's potentially the 6th man of the year. And that's not, the hippie lettuce, as somebody texted in yesterday.
Hippie lettuce.
Hippie lettuce.
Interesting.
And it's also Sam Hoiberg that, guess what, who won't probably show up in the box score a ton in terms of points per game, in terms of rebounds, in terms of assists even at times, but just the grinded out momentum changing plays. Yeah, it's Sam Hoiberg. Well, then guess what? You have some other guys that also we can attribute some success to. It is not just the CJ Wilcher off the bench show, and it is not just a Sam Hoiberg off the bench show. And that is something that I think Nebraska's been needing for years, because Nebraska doesn't have a guy, and this is okay because they're proving that they can win without it, a guy that's going to drop 23 a game on average. Rink Mass is currently leading. As I was doing some digging, Rink Mass and Derek Walker, there's a few similarities here. Rink Mass currently leads the team in points per game with 13.6 points per contest, rebounds per game at 8.4, and also in assists per game at exactly 3. How about this? Derek Walker last season finished the season leading the Huskers in those same 3 categories.
What do you know?
With exactly the same amount of points per game average at 13.6. Rebounds per game, D-Walk had 7.1. And assists per game, D-Walk had 3.9. So about, on average, 1 more assist per game, but also one rebound fewer per contest.
I was going to say, Rink Mass is a little bigger than Derek Walker, but when you look at this offense compared to last year's offense, they're not running the offense through Rink Mass. However, you get that same action at the top of the key just about every time where they're running around, they hand it off to Rink, or they get it to Rink, and then, he does a little handoff action, or is looking for some backdoor cuts or something along those lines. But in terms of like the offensive production, getting him in the post and letting him go to work, as opposed to, downhill Derek Walker, as you like to say, where he would have it right at that fingernail, drop a shoulder and lay it up. Rink Mass is doing a lot of his work from that little inside area with that hook shot that is just so gorgeous to watch. And like you said, they don't have a guy who's going to go out there and average 23 points a game, but they have a couple of guys who can give you 23 on a nightly basis.
Well, and so one thing that I will say about Sam Hoiberg, and this won't show up in a box score. So Chucky Hepburn, you can't say enough about him. I know there were boos raining throughout Pinnacle Bank Arena, and Chucky struggled.
Unnecessary, but understood.
Chucky struggled from beyond the 3-point line. He shot 50% from the field, did Chucky, at 6 for 12 from the field, 1 for 1 from the free throw line.
He was like 5 of 6 at halftime, wasn't he?
What I would say is one of the biggest changes in that second half was you saw Sam Hoiberg in on Chucky Hepburn. And these are 2 guys that have been going at each other since middle school. And so understanding that is a key. Understanding that these 2 guys know each other as well as anybody does on the court provided, in last night's case, a competitive advantage for Sam Hoiberg. You saw that there was one play specifically where the shot clock was winding down, and there were multiple possessions last night throughout the entire course of the game. I even thought so in the first half, where Nebraska played really, really strong defense for about 33 seconds, or I should say, would it be like 27 seconds?
Yeah, something like that.
27 seconds. And either Wisconsin would make a really tough jump shot in the first half, or the offensive rebound would carry them out to somebody else in a Wisconsin uniform. And they would get a fresh shot clock. And then Nebraska would have to be, before you know it, playing, 60 seconds of defense. And more than likely, that's going to, put the favor, the odds will go into Wisconsin's favor. Mm-hmm. So last night, there was one play specifically from the right elbow where Chucky was sizing up Sam Hoiberg. And he was crossing over. There was like 4 or 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Chucky stops at the elbow, tries like a little fade away, and Sam played that possession as well defensively as anybody played last night. Mm-hmm. And it was obvious that like there's homework being done and there's film study being had, and that Nebraska is just as is athletic enough to compete in the Big Ten Conference. And they proved it last night, even without the big comeback, even if Nebraska and Wisconsin was a single digit game for all 40 minutes. Nebraska proved, and they've continued to prove, maybe not so much on the road, sure. Because I think that's just, I feel like we have to always put that caveat in, because we'll have people that come at us and say, well, they got to win on the road. Well, I understand that, but also they've proven time and time again that they are talented enough, mm-hmm. maybe not flashy enough, but they are talented enough to compete at this level.
They have the skill needed to compete with all of the Big Ten teams, at least, and some of the other teams outside of the conference, some of the power teams outside of the conference. I'm not going to say that they've got the skill level to compete with, I don't even know, whatever other top tier teams there are in the NCAA, but they've proven that they can go toe to toe with a lot of those stronger teams. It's just the mental fortitude that when you go on the road, that you need to have, that maybe this team is lacking. And yes, they have, it's not an old team, but it's not a young team. They're somewhere in the middle there. And maybe it's just a little more experience on the road, and they'll be able to, hopefully figure some things out. And maybe towards the end of this season, they'll figure some things out, because again, you have a win against formerly number 1, you have a win against the number 6 team, but you're still going to need a little bit of work to do to maybe not sweat it out on Selection Sunday. Yeah. But this team, as you were just saying, has all of the tools necessary to make the NCAA tournament and hopefully potentially do what no other Nebraska basketball team has been able to do. But right now, just take the win, be excited, and get ready for the next matchup.
I think it's important to note, right? So a couple of things here. And Nebraska ball fan texted in and asked if we felt like Brink Mass was a little more aggressive on the perimeter yesterday, and defensively, I should say, he says. And I would agree with that. I think once again, it goes back to the scouting report, knowing Wisconsin. So Stephen Crowell has had Brink Mass number before. We discussed that yesterday a little bit. Stephen Crowell finishes the game yesterday with just 1 point that he got from the free throw line. He only attempted 2 shots. It feels like we're in like this reverse world where Stephen Crowell had himself a pretty nice game against Michigan State and in the recent games for Wisconsin, while in the last game out, Brink Mass only attempted 5 shots. We said it on this show, said it on multiple shows, where it's, hey, Rink's got to be a little more aggressive, and the volume of shooting has to go up for Brink Mass. Well, last night, it was the complete opposite, right? It feels like, and Greg Gard said it in the postgame, that he felt like Crowell needed to be more aggressive and try for some more shots. Last night, Brink Mass shoots the ball, 18 times? He goes 8 for 18 from the field, does Brink Mass. I also think knowing who your opponent is. Stephen Crowell is a 48% three-point shooter. He was at least going into last night. I don't think he attempted one last night. No, he did. He attempted 2. So that percentage has gone down just a tad. Aha. But so 45% three-point shooter for his size. That's pretty impressive. So it was a nice job by Rink defensively. It was also a nice job at times by Juwan. I mentioned that Nebraska in the second half put out a lineup featuring Juwan at the 3, Rink at the 4, and Josiah Alec at the 5. And that helped the rebound numbers. It helped also the ability to kind of close out at times, especially on guys like AJ Storr. AJ Storr from the start looked like he was about ready to put up a 40-point game against Nebraska, but then slowed down, right? And Nebraska started, calming down and was able to defend Storr a little easier. But I mean, there was a time where Nebraska looked dead in the water. And I got to give credit to Fred Hoiberg and his staff here, Rico, because Fred said it in the post game that he quote, I think the quote was, I jumped them at halftime, or we jumped them at halftime, and credit to them for how they responded. Here, I tweeted out the right quote. Here it is in just a moment. Here we go. Okay. Hoiberg said, we jumped them at halftime. That's about as animated as I've ever been during a halftime break.
Well, they were asking CJ after the game, what happened at halftime. And he said, coach said, maybe some things that I can't say right now.
Yeah.
He said, but he got after us and we came out with their heads on fire. I don't remember his
which
exact
is good,
quote, but they just came out with their heads on fire and their hair on fire and they were moving. They were going for things. And dang it, I had something and I just lost it.
I mean, going back to Nebraska here, it's just they shut Wisconsin down in the second half, and Nebraska did really well.
We had mentioned when I came in yesterday on the crossover with you and Strick that I mentioned yesterday that I was a little worried about the optimism of Nebraska fans going into it. And Strick mentioned something about it being like the Creighton matchup, that it could remind him of the Creighton matchup.
It felt like it
in that
it?
first half.
It felt like
the Creighton game. It felt like there's nothing they can do. They're trying and it's just not working out for them. And Wisconsin's just hitting all these shots. And they did the opposite of that Creighton game. They didn't just lay down and just like, well, I guess we'll get the next game. They came out and they kept fighting. They went blow for blow, and then they got Wisconsin on the ropes and just started swinging.
And not even just the Creighton game, just years past. So many. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. Nebraska that we know over the last 4 or 5 years, they would have folded.
Oh yeah,
they would have folded in a heartbeat. They would have, before it even got to 19. They would have folded. Obviously you have the crowd behind you to kind of help you out a little bit and give you a boost. I mean, I look at some of these numbers for Nebraska real quickly before we go to break.
Yep.
And Nebraska in the second half, 10 of 13 from the free throw line. How nice is that? To just know when Bryce Williams went to the line towards the end and the Pinnacle Bank Arena completely changed its tune, and you could hear a pin drop in there.
It was so quiet on TV, and the announcers weren't saying anything either.
And you could hear a pin drop in there. Bryce Williams is able to hit 2 home, and so you're able to see the growth continue to kind of churn away for Nebraska. 10 of 13 in the second half, and 5 of 5 in overtime.
Beautiful.
5 of 5 in overtime to ice the game. That's the difference maker. That's the difference maker. In the second half in overtime, Wisconsin went 2 for 5. Not that that's going to make a difference, but who knows what that does to momentum? Who knows what that does to the crowd? Who knows what that does for Wisconsin? But nonetheless, Nebraska took care of business last night. At one point, they were on a 12-0 run. The largest lead they had was the one, obviously, by 8.
They didn't lead
with 49 seconds.
Didn't lead until the second half.
I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. They withstood run after run, just kind of punch after punch from Wisconsin. There was a lot more Wisconsin punches in that first half than there were Nebraska punches.
They mentioned on the broadcast,
continue to recover.
Mentioned on the broadcast that 3 separate Wisconsin players went on 10-0 runs by themselves in that game.
Yeah.
And that's the multiple runs, like you just mentioned. And Wisconsin had a lot of punches, and Rinkmast has a step back. So
that's incredible. Good. That's incredible. Yeah, great night in PBA last night. Incredible atmosphere. One of the best that Pinnacle Bank has ever seen. And I have no problem putting it right up there with No Sit Sunday. So nice. Bravo, Husker Nation. Bravo, fans. Nice work. Good job. Nice job showing up. Nebraska basketball now travels to Champaign on Sunday to face off against the Illinois Fighting Illini. And they just have 4 home games remaining. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the Nets rankings a little bit and compare them with some other resumes with Nebraska, because Joe Lenardi updated his bracket earlier this morning, and Nebraska didn't change where they're at.
Damn it, Joe.
They are still considered the last 4 in. And if this holds true, which obviously a lot of season left, Nebraska would be playing in the Marquette Regional. It'd be playing in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
And Nebraska as a 10 seed would face off against number 7 seed Clemson. So there you have it. Nebraska would be facing off against Clemson. There's a couple. I was looking at some other 10 seeds, and like Texas A&M doesn't have nearly the resume that Nebraska does, but is yet a last 4 bye for Joe Lunardi. Nebraska, I think if they're able to get a victory though on Sunday, hey, here's the deal.
Things could get real.
Forget even being on the bubble. Being even on the bubble. There's 2 more quad 1 victory possibilities for Nebraska, and it's the next 2 games for the Huskers, Illinois, and then on the road at Northwestern. So the rest are going to be quad 2 and quad 3. Maybe a quad 4 thrown in there with like the Rutgers and Penn State game at home, I believe I saw.
Okay.
So there's we'll update you guys on that and let you know where some other bracket predictions are landing the Huskers to be in the NCAA tournament, if they're even landing there at all. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Happy Hour. Huge thanks to Empire Fence and Netting. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Saturday, February 3rd versus the San Diego Mojo at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
You can get diesel anywhere, but what about
Atomic Diesel?
That comes from Stern. Atomic Diesel is your solution to all your cold weather problems. Prevent clogged fuel filters, increase your fuel economy, and save money with
Atomic Diesel.
Contact Roger at Stern today by calling 1-800-477-2744 to see how
Atomic Diesel
and the rest of their line of fuels and lubricants can keep your operation running at max capacity.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured. My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice-integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Sports Show! Coming up in Lincoln, February 2nd through 4th at the Sand Hills Global Event Center, it's the family show of all outdoors, the 55th Annual Boat and Travel Show. With RVs, motorhomes, boats, trailers, discount tackle, and family fun for everyone. Interact with exotic animals at wildlife encounters and appearances by Husker football players. Veterans free on Friday, lots of free parking. Doors open at noon on Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. See you there! Show.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
When I gave you the cookie, I heard very clearly, I don't think about you, Schmidt.
Why would I think about you?
Because we're friends. We're not animals.
We're men. The only time a man is allowed to think about another man is when that man is Jay Cutler.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Yo, breaks here are wild.
Somebody's got to get a hold on Jay Foreman, man.
A hold on Jay Foreman?
That man is out of control.
Jay has done nothing wrong.
That man is out of control.
Coming from Mr. Mexico over here.
See, never mind.
What?
We're done.
No, what?
402-464-5685.
You hear him, Jay?
The Honda of Lincoln. He's too buried in his phone. Kids these days.
Ridiculous.
402-464-5685. Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitter, Allo Channel 961.
Whatever you want to call it.
Let's compare a resume here really quickly, because Nebraska is in a spot here that they moved up 5 spots in the net, which is the kicker, right? The big one.
I was say, is that the good one?
That's the kicker.
They'll take the rank or the team.
Yes. So this comes from WarrenNolan.com. You see screenshots of WarrenNolan.com because they have the quad victories separated and laid out.
Who's Warren?
Who's Nolan?
Are they the same person?
They might be. Two first names.
Ridiculous.
Bad idea.
Yo, I mean this with all due respect to anybody who has 2 first names. Ridiculous.
There it is. Anyway, nonetheless, so I was looking at Nebraska's today because it gets updated fairly quickly, and Nebraska is now 6-6, perfectly 500 in quad 1 and quad 2 games combined, as well as 10-0 in quad 3 and 4 games combined. Which means that so these numbers do fluctuate. It's important to note that.
Okay.
And with that, I think Nebraska was 11-0 in quad 3 and quad 4 games.
Did one of them move?
One of them must have moved up.
Somebody must have got a big win.
One of them must have moved up in the RPI or in the net.
Could it have been Oregon State? Because I know that it was helping after they beat Arizona. I don't know if they've won any other games to help their ranking move up. It was a neutral site game, so it's kind of iffy on that side of
net team sheet. Okay, here's what we're looking at. Nebraska's quad 1 games. They are 3-3. Their quad 1 victories are Purdue, Wisconsin, and Michigan State. Their quad 1 losses are Wisconsin, Creighton, and Iowa. How about that? Iowa counts as a quad 1 loss. Quad 2 for Nebraska. Their losses, once again, they are also 3-3 in this one. Their losses are Maryland, Minnesota, Rutgers. That Rutgers game is a home or the away one that they lost in overtime. Did that Minnesota
one move up?
Well, and then also their victory or their 3 quad 2 victories are Kansas State, Northwestern at home, and Ohio State at home. So one of those 3 moved up
one of the wins
to a quad 2, which helps out Nebraska.
You think it was Ohio? I think it was Ohio State. The Northwestern was still towards the top of the Big Ten.
I would argue Kansas State.
But they haven't really.
Kansas State's in the middle of the Big 12.
They've been on a slide, haven't they? Lost their last 2 games.
All right, here's where we find out.
I know these are things that
these are things we find out in real time.
Exactly. These are not.
I just have to find Kansas State on this list here. So Kansas State's currently 83rd in the net.
Mm-hmm.
So on the outside looking in, let's see, their RPI is 79th, which away game that would have made it a quad 2 game. So anyway, then Nebraska, obviously, Indiana's a quad 3 at home, which that could also change if Indiana wins a couple of games. Oregon State currently, for the time being, is farther outside.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because Kansas State's lost their last 3 games.
Yes. So it's a very interesting little metric. Now, on this website,
they're not doing too hot.
On this website, they have what they call a predicted RPI team sheet.
Ooh.
Which means it predicts Nebraska's or anybody's remaining games. And so how about this? Husker fans that don't feel good about Nebraska's chances on the road, WarrenNolan.com is predicting Nebraska to finish 21-10 this season, which would give them the road record of 2-9. Those 2 road victories at Michigan, they're predicting a 1-point Huskers win at 72-71.
All right.
And then they are also predicting a road victory at that's weird. Oh,
no, they're saying
that would be the only one. Kansas State would be the second road win.
So one more road victory.
So what? And that's kind of the thought process.
That's rough.
That is kind of the thought process. The other games they're predicting Nebraska to. Let's see. The home game against Michigan, they're predicting a 9-point Nebraska win.
Okay.
They are predicting the home games against. Now, this is the big one, and these are the games that why we talked about. Yeah, you know what? Just because there's not a ranking next to their name, it's pretty important still.
Mm-hmm.
Is because Rutgers, Penn State, and Minnesota, 3 games that you still have to play at home, will all, if it happened today, all 3 of those teams would be considered a quad 4 game.
Can't lose those.
Can't lose them. Cannot lose them. Michigan would be considered a quad 3. Both the home and away game would be considered a quad 3. They're also predicting. Now, this is the bigger part.
That's a weird
one.
The
Northwestern and Illinois, as well as the Indiana game.
Quad 2.
1.
Got it.
All 3 of those would be quad 1 matchups, predicting Nebraska losses.
So you have 3 quad 1s and then multiple quad 4s and 2 quad 3.
Yeah.
See, the fact that they have Michigan as a quad 3 at home, not at Michigan, at home, but they have Minnesota and Rutgers as quad 4s at home, confuses me because Michigan is the worst team in the Big Ten. So even
there's strength of schedule that comes into play.
There is that, but it's still they're not a good team.
Michigan currently 7-14 this season. They have the 6th hardest schedule in the country. Michigan does. 104th in the net.
Just because you lose to everybody doesn't make your schedule hard.
They've lost to a lot of people. I mean, how about this? You want to talk about a tough stretch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have lost 9 of their last 10. Their only win is at home against Ohio State.
Hey, at least they beat Ohio State.
That's the only win that they have. They've lost 9 of their last 10.
Is this like football?
Dating back to December 19th.
Is this like football where as long as you beat Ohio State, you're good?
I mean, here, listen to these. So some of the teams that they've lost to, so what kicked off this whole entire like losing spell was a double overtime loss to Florida in the Jumpman Invitational down in North Carolina. They lost in double overtime, 106-101.
The what invitational?
The Jumpman.
There you go.
It's one word, so I think
I
Jumpman.
know.
And I also am like thinking about the song Jumpman. Anyway, you have then a loss at home to McNeese.
Oh, yep.
Then they lost at home to Minnesota. They lost on the road at Penn State. They lost on the road at Maryland. They lost at home against Illinois. They lost on the road against Purdue. Lost at home against Iowa. Lost on the road against Michigan State.
My goodness.
Tough stretch. Now it doesn't
like Nebraska 2 years ago.
It also doesn't get any easier for Michigan because they'll face Rutgers tomorrow, and then it's number 6 Wisconsin. Well, they're not going to be number 6 anymore.
We'll say number 12.
So 10th ranked Wisconsin. Then on the road at PBA here in Lincoln.
Tough place to play.
Then on the road at Illinois.
Tough place to play.
And then Michigan State at home. On the road at Northwestern. Against Purdue. Against Rutgers on the road. And on the road against Ohio State. Not only to finish against
Michigan.
Nebraska.
Michigan.
Tough stretch.
Man, they might not win another game.
Don't say that. Knock on wood right now. Thank you. We're not doing that.
What? They could beat Northwestern. I wasn't talking about Nebraska. She's talking about they could beat Northwestern.
It's the whole superstitious thing, man. It's the whole superstitious thing. So there it is.
I'm not
Just
going to
a
get
couple
too
thoughts.
confident.
I know. Once again, they're predicting 21-10 record. I think Husker fans would take that. Also, with some quad 1 and quad 2 victories mixed in there, you have a leg up on the 2018 that just missed the tournament.
Yeah, if I told you Nebraska was 21-10 at the end of the season, if at the beginning of the season, if I said Nebraska's going to end the season 21-10, everybody takes it.
I was looking at multiple bracketologists and their predictions, and it seems like the Big Ten is going to be a 6-bid league.
Oh,
so not as many as in years past.
Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern, Nebraska, Michigan
Maryland.
State.
Oh, you say Michigan State?
Yes.
I think Maryland's going to sneak in somehow.
7?
Could be 7. Maybe
How's Minnesota doing?
Michigan State's a good choice.
Yeah,
Michigan State's an all right choice.
Izzo has a leg up. They'll lean towards Michigan State.
I don't know what Michigan State's schedule looks like.
I don't either. I just always assume Michigan State's in.
How weird is it when they're not in?
I don't think they've ever not been in
Michigan
since I've been alive. I don't know.
You want to talk about this Michigan State win that Nebraska has 70 over Michigan State? How about this? I mean, you look at what Michigan State's done since then. They've won, let's see, they had a 5-game winning streak. Then they've won now 4 of their last 5 currently. So you're talking about 9 of their last 12 games Michigan State has won. That'll certainly help out a Nebraska team that's needing all the help that they can get. Michigan State has a little bit of a tough schedule. They have to travel to Indiana. They have to travel to to Purdue, to Michigan, to Penn State, to Minnesota. They face Maryland tomorrow. It's a really good college basketball weekend. So I think I would lean, now that you said Michigan State, I would lean Michigan State.
The last time Michigan State missed the NCAA tournament. Yes.
I don't even know when to guess. 1996. 1997.
They missed those 2 years.
Wow. Been in ever since.
98, 99. All
the way. There you go.
Obviously, nobody made it in 2020. So
Yes. Yeah. So there you go. Wow. Michigan State. So Michigan State gets the leg up on Maryland. I don't know why I feel high on Maryland. Kevin Willard squad.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because just what they did to Nebraska. Who knows? Let's take our final timeout. We'll come up next with Strick as we get you ready for On the Block. I'm filling in for Austin one more day. So it's going to be myself and Stricky when we return on the crossover, getting you ready for On the Block with Strick and myself. Doing that next on the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured. My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
You can get diesel anywhere, but what about
Atomic Diesel?
That comes from Stern. Atomic Diesel is your solution to all your cold weather problems. Prevent clogged fuel filters, increase your fuel economy, and save money with
Atomic Diesel.
Contact Roger at Stern today by calling 1-800-477-2744 to see how
Atomic Diesel
and the rest of their line of fuels and lubricants can keep your operation running at max capacity. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Coming up in Lincoln, February 2nd through 4th at the Sandhills Global Event Center, it's the family show of all outdoors, the 55th Annual Boat, Sport, and Travel Show. With RVs, motorhomes, boats, trailers, discount tackle, and family fun for everyone. Interact with exotic animals at wildlife encounters and appearances by Husker football players. Veterans free on Friday, lots of free parking. Doors open at noon on Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. See you there!
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we'd like to say thank you for a record-setting 2023. So let's start off 2024 with the bang. They've got huge trade-in bonuses and finance bonusing happening right now on our new inventory at Koppel. Get up to $8,500 off select new models at Koppel. So if you're shopping for a new GM product, go to our website at koppelcars.com. You won't believe the discounts. Make that short money-saving drive down 144th Street. You'll be glad you did. Must have trade and finance with roof credit. Stock number G2076684.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
Look at him and tell me there's a God.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary. Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in one final time on a Friday. It's the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick, Rico, and now Stricky, as Austin is out for one final day before he gets back on Monday. So it's going to be me and Strick coming up on the show today. Stricky, what's up?
What it do?
Doing all right?
Breaking stuff up here. Not really, but
there you go.
I'm fixing it.
You all right?
We're good.
Look at you, just doing it.
I need a little volume. Over here is where the Terrell.
He's not in. He wasn't in today.
Not Terrell's not in. Nice try.
And he won't be in at all next week.
Nice try.
He's hanging out with his granddaughter.
Yeah, Terrell's a grandpa.
He's a grandpa.
He is Grandpappy Terrell.
Lord, just
Grandpapa.
Just another 10 years. Just hold on.
Oh, you don't want to be a grandpapa?
Grandpapa Stricky?
No, I mean my son's 24, my daughter's 20, and she's dating an Arizona basketball player.
Oh, wait, who?
I can't tell.
Stricky.
Wow, tease.
Are you serious?
He's not a starter or anything.
Well, that's fine.
He's
Okay, that's all I need to know.
You're right. Caleb Love is coming off the bench, right?
Definitely not him. There would be a problem if it was that. But then my baby's 16 and she's a little entrepreneur and doing her own little thing. And so I'm just hoping just another 10 either way with any of them.
Have you met the Arizona basketball player?
She sent me, photos and
so you haven't met him.
Have you FaceTimed the young man?
Not yet. I haven't. I have a plan to me and Cluster probably to do a bad boy scene.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah. A little
Man,
bad
I just
boys.
got out of prison.
All right, so who are we looking at here?
Are you scared to go back?
All right, somebody that doesn't play.
What are we doing?
Yeah, you
somebody that doesn't play. Well, there's a lot of them that haven't started games.
There you go. So let's move on.
What are we
What
doing?
happened last
Conrad?
night? What happened last night?
What are we doing right now?
Is it Conrad?
Nick, what are we doing right now?
No.
Hey, we're not doing this. We're not doing
What
this.
is it? I plead the fifth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Anyway, Stricky, just preliminary thoughts, man. On last night, it's incredible.
Well, you and I both were in the building, and I've got to say that I've been to quite a few games over the last few years, and then popped in from time to time when I was living out of town.
Mm-hmm.
But that was as electric as I've seen it in a while. I mean, obviously, it was even more electric than the Purdue game because the Purdue game, it was some other circumstances that just didn't allow the crowd to be in there the way that it was. And even still, it was still good. But to see Nebraska faithful storm again, to see the conversation between Rule and out in the back, for Rule to see it, like you can experience it from a level, but to see it at a success when your team is actually it's a whole different feel. And I think that inspires as well. It's good to see Dylan see it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that's an angle I hadn't thought about, where it's like that should make you want it more, right? And that's that whole like elevating the program. If the basketball program elevates, then the football program should want to and expect to as well.
And that was what we did, like in our own little way. I mean, the success we were having on the basketball side, because a lot of people at that time were really, this is why I can say how they can always help each other by their successes. At that time, man, the football team was really getting reamed on because they weren't able to get over the hump. They were winning a lot of games, and then they would get to the big ones and they would get beat and they would get hammered. And we were having success, and they would come and watch us.
Yeah.
And you've heard some of the stories. You probably have some of them that have come and how they've expressed how they would come watch us play. And it was mutual. I mean, Jay's even shared some of those. But when we inspired them, they inspired us. And when they got more successful, we wanted more, success for ourselves. And it impacted us on a level that it's hard to explain. But I'm thinking that I understand Rule and like Dylan and those guys are able to see it.
Rule sending the football team out to support other sports, and the football team seeing the success that other sports are having. You see multiple football players at soccer matches this last in the fall season when they were playing, at volleyball matches when they were playing. Now going to women's basketball, going to men's basketball, and seeing the success that these other teams are having should inspire you to, like, you see how much support these teams have, even if it's not to the same level, just the level of support they have and how excited the fan base is when they have success. That should make you want to fill that up 90,000 plus. And when you have success, how much more electric it's going to be. Because you just saw Court Storm twice this season.
Yeah.
A team that hasn't really, has been, kind of up and down throughout the years. And finally this season is having a level of success that they haven't had in a while. 2 court stormings. Just imagine what would happen if you're in Memorial Stadium and you do something along those lines.
Yeah, you beat like a Michigan or an Ohio State.
It's gonna be hard to storm the field because you're gonna have to jump, like 2 stories down from the student section. But still,
yeah,
it's truly something fascinating what happened last night.
And Nick, what's up? This happened with 2 starters like not showing up. Like that's what's amazing.
I mean, you can even say 3 not starters, but 3 key players of the last couple of games, Eli Rice being one of them.
Yeah. Like that's you don't have Casey. Jamarcus is obviously hasn't really been consistent.
How many teams can have a preseason all Big Ten player
against a top 10 team,
against a top 10 team not show up and still come out with a win?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated at this conversation. A couple of things, we're obviously going to break this down on the block. There's going to be a lot of angles also to it. I think one of the angles I want to ask Stricky specifically regarding Jamarcus Lawrence, because unfortunately he's struggling. He's struggling a little bit. And I don't know, we being Husker fans have kind of given a pass because we understand that he's not in his primary position right now. But I think now, and this wasn't like a revelation that I made last night. It's been something that I've kind of been stewing on over the last couple of games, where it's like, all right, you're now 20 plus games into the season. Is it time to move on from it's not his position, we need to cut him some slack, to you just got to get it done, and he's not? Like, I don't know. And I want to have an extended conversation with you about that, Stricky, because I'm not sure how Husker fans should go about it. Because Jamarcus Lawrence, freshman year, looks completely different than Jamarcus Lawrence this year because he's being asked to do something different.
If you want to have an extended conversation, I can give my take, and then I can let you guys go.
Please.
Because to me, Jamarcus Lawrence, I'm still on he's not playing in the right position. He's not a point guard. He's not. And just to say that out loud, like, maybe it's a little hurtful, maybe whatever, but I don't think he should be playing the 1. I think he does much better at the 2 when he's off ball, when he's able to move around, he's able to catch and shoot, or he's able to move and get those backdoor cuts and get some easy layups. But for him to run the offense, I don't think that is something that he does, at least now, whatever it is, very well. And I think you have a Bryce Williams on the bench, a guy who can run the offense. Yes, he's a bigger point guard, but still, you have a guy who can run the offense, has shown that ability. I don't know what your lineup would have to change or what you would have to do with your lineup, but if you can get Bryce to run that point and have Jamarcus play off ball, I think that you'd be able to see a much better version of Jamarcus Lawrence, who would be able to show up and give you some of the things that he was able to give at the end of the season last year.
Great point, and I'm not great point, and I'm not going to knock it.
No,
I think it's a good one. I think it's one that should be evaluated. But here's what I'm going to say, though. I'm going to say, as though, even though it doesn't show up the way that we would hope it would show up, it showed up. Because for me, just high level, because I'm looking at it from, as a coach, former coach, as a former player, and as, now a broadcaster and a referee. So I'm looking at all those
different
perspectives,
angles.
Right? He had 4 assists with 1 turnover.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something I saw.
It's not lighting up the box score.
Right. But it was success.
Which it's different. And let me clarify that, because we've had those conversations about how, hey, is this the game that he scores, right? That we see the scoring piece of Jamarcus Lawrence, right? Because Jamarcus has had multiple games where he's had 4, 5, 6 assists and few turnovers. And I think also, in the grand scheme of it all, who do you trust more with the basketball in his hand at the at the 1? Is it Jamarcus Lawrence or Bryce Williams? I think you're going Jamarcus Lawrence.
I would say Jamarcus, me personally. And because I don't have hair. I was about to pull it out.
Yeah.
And I don't have it. I told Jake Milson, I said, Jake, I almost came down here and had I'm
going to grow some hair to pull it out.
Yeah, that part. I almost was a member of the what is the club called? The hair club for men, or whatever it's called, where I'm not only a client, but I'm the president. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. But that's how I felt. Now check it. When I think about Jamarcus, though, right? You guys are all on point. I noticed growth because Chucky ate him up in Wisconsin. Chucky ate his lunch. And in this game, I saw him learn from things that Chucky did to him out there. It was turning the corner, throwing the ball out front. It was turning the corner, hipping, getting to something, clearing space, dropping dime to rink mass. It was a lot of those little nuances that I can tell was growth. So for me, keep him there, because in all actuality, next level, he would never play anyplace else.
No.
Let him continue to grow through the growing pains. He's still only a sophomore, right?
I mean, so
he's got time.
Yeah,
so that's the part I'm thinking about.
Let's talk about, I mean, I hate to bring this up, like next year's needs. You're okay. So then you put him back to off ball.
I still think you let him combo.
Okay.
That's where if he's going to play at the next level, you let him combo.
Yeah, he's more of a scoring guard than he is a true point guard. And that's just something that people, when you think of a point guard, you think of a guy who's dropping dimes, a guy who's getting, multiple assists a game. But Jamarcus is a guy who can score the rock with great efficiency. It just hasn't shown up this season. But like you said, he's grown as a point guard, as a passer.
Yeah.
But when you think back to Jamarcus and the success that he was having last year, it was because he was scoring the ball. So that's what, like me, that's what I want from Jamarcus. That's what I want to see from Jamarcus. So it's just a little frustrating for him to, score like 6 points a game and have 5 assists. The 5 assists are great, but I'm sitting here like, you could have, 14 points.
It's a mental flux.
Yeah.
And see, this is the difference between him and CJ. CJ's learned.
Yes.
CJ, it
took him 3 years, though.
It took him 3 years. The high level on CJ is understanding the offense, understanding where potential shots are going to be. I'm working on that. Like, you can tell that, okay, This first one may not be me, but it's the second action, and that's the one I'm shooting, and I'm working on that because you can see when he comes off, there's a level of confidence in CJ when he comes off certain. He's like, this me. It's like when he had the big man on the wing and he hit him with a move with a baseline and a little step off. And it didn't matter that the big man was there because he was there for a challenge.
Don't care.
And it was the one where he spinned off of him. He's getting more confidence in certain things, but it's in understanding where they come out of the offense. That's what Jamarcus hasn't figured out yet.
Yes.
He hasn't figured out from that position how to get it out outside of push probes and fast break opportunities. That's where he kind of has a better feel and understanding.
And then you talk about CJ growth. Yeah, an excellent show of his growth was later in the game. He's been on fire all game, right? He's hitting shots. Doesn't matter where the shot's coming from. He's hitting out all those shots. Sets a screen so Rink can take the shot. Growth.
Absolutely. And listen, that's one thing that they did better tonight than they've done collectively. You've seen moments of it, but collectively, they put bodies on people.
Yes.
That's one of the things that you normally don't see. Certain actions don't require the body, but for the most part, they were hunting the body because they knew that Wisconsin was going to be hugging them tightly.
Well, there it is. Good stuff coming up on the block with myself and Strick. We'll have plenty more thoughts on Nebraska's victory over the Wisconsin Badgers 80-72. There's also a couple other things that I want to get Strick's thoughts on. If you guys have not heard, there's a little bit of an alliance going on between the SEC and the Big Ten Conference. Not sure if that means the funeral for the NCAA and that governing body is coming soon.
Hey,
so
Nick,
we'll talk a little bit about that.
Do you want to form an
Voltron.
alliance?
There it is.
I want to form Voltron.
all that and more coming up on the block. Huge thanks to Rico. Huge thanks to you guys for hanging out with us all week long. We will talk to you on the happy hour on Monday.
Adios.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are